This is a test of the Bounty Park alert system.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for ringing me, Andy. Thanks for the text there. No sound.
Yeah. So
the mouse is on Dave's side tonight, and that's why.
Yeah, blame Dave. Blame Dave for everything. So how was your Boxing Day then?
Yeah, it was great. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, other than the football.
Yeah, other than the football. I mean, it was the reason that we were out, but
10 a.m. start, 4 a.m. finish.
Something like that. Yeah, it was boozy. There's no doubt about it. And so it was one of those nights that made me question my life choices, Dave. I'm not going to lie. Not to mention, my my football allegiance, which I would never question, but bloody hell, it was hard work.
Yeah. It was a tough day, wasn't it, at the office?
I mean, you put out that little video out. You interviewed each other for a bit of fun at the bar, and I went for a wee, and by the time I come back from the wee, we were 4-1 down. It was 2-1 when I went for a piss. I couldn't believe. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that there was enough time for him to score 2 goals. But
it's not that bad, Robert. Come on, it's not that bad.
No, because that only happens once in a blue moon with us.
Yeah.
No offense, Roy.
That's a bit harsh. We're not that bad, are we?
No.
Well, we're award winning.
Anyway,
what's Unsworth won?
We're doing it for free, so who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a technical problem. Anyway.
Good to know, Gareth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. Should we get stuck into
Well, you've got something to read out, haven't you?
Well, I was going to read this out, off the back of
Before you do that, credit to Big Man for the coach. It was a great day as well, weren't it, the coach?
Yeah.
Had a really good day.
This is stuff we were saying before.
Before we're on mute, yeah. So we've got a few calls, so we'll get to you, but Matt wants to read this because it is interesting for a change.
So off the back of Mr. Unsworth's interview after the match, he seemed to stress that we just got Notts County on a bad day. They were really good. But the top of the league, they were always going to be good. I took this from the Magpie Circle, it's called. It's a podcast for Notts County. It's online, you can watch it. But he said, Notts County were sitting. I paraphrase, I took a lot of the stuff that they said, but they got the job done. But he could not believe Oldham thought they were brave with 2 up front, and they've said before that the best way to get at Notts is to try and have a goal and force them back and cause them a problem. But Oldham yesterday, and this is a bold statement, but he said he can't remember a worse performance against Notts County ever. He thought ever at Meadow Lane. He thought that we were awful. He said didn't get a sweat on, didn't get near anybody. We're like statues at times. and it was just an absolute mismatch in terms of levels of performance, quality, willingness to work. It says it was a gobsmackingly poor. It's gobsmackingly poor from a side with the history of Oldham and the position they're in, fourth in the bottom of the start of play. You'd have thought there'd be a bit of scrap in front of a Boxing Day crowd at Meadow Lane, but there was none. There was nothing. They were as passive a team as I've seen. I just couldn't believe what I was watching at times. Notts County had the freedom of Meadow Lane and coasted to a comfortable 4-1 victory. And then one of the other lads said, which I thought was interesting, I also think it's a lesson in terms of respect in the National League, because the Oldham owner came out and said, where's Dorking and all of this malarkey. What's happened at Oldham, when the club isn't being run right, it shows how bad you can be. Because right now you're talking the likes of Dorking, Bromley, Wealdstone, they are miles ahead as a football team than Oldham, miles ahead. I think if you're Oldham and you stick with the same head coach, it's a long old season. So that's the views of the Notts County podcast. They're not my words. I'm just reading them out because they're looking at it from a completely different point of view of us. That's how they see it. They think that we've come into this league thinking we're the Billy Big Bollocks and just not taking it seriously. That may or may not be the case, but that's the perception. And there's no. Bring somebody in. We can't defend that performance. Let's see David. Let's see what David wants to say.
Hey, mate.
Oh, we can't hear you now.
Come on, David.
Sorry, mate. It's me now.
Catching.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I've listened to a lot of the Notts County publications, if you like, and updates from the defeat last week on Boxing Day, which we were at, and I think the tactics that Unsworth has kind of put in place is just completely exposed, isn't he? And I don't know how he can come back from it. And I kind of felt, if you go back to when he took over, the squad he inherited, he was quite public about him not being good enough, and that over time he'd change it. He's obviously had the investment to change it. But I don't know if it's the arrogance or his intelligence that he's just not building any kind of relationship with the fans, which, unless you're winning games, then it naturally comes back to bite you. I listened to the Crew Alexander manager on Monday or Tuesday or whenever it was, and I think they were well beaten with a similar sort of performance. But if you listen to their manager speak and how he acknowledges the fact that the players didn't perform, the tactics were inadequate, he took responsibility for it. He thanked the fans for, although they give him pelters, which were his words, he understands why, and he'll work to try and rectify it. The lack of engagement towards the travelling fans, which, again, if you look on Twitter from Notts County, has been applauded. It's just common sense. It's not even intelligence to try and engage and encourage. And by doing what he's done, he's kind of created that divide, that how that can be replaced now unless we went 10 unbeaten. And even then, I don't think the fans would be bought into it. But personally, I think, I was speaking to Ryan Amer at the Torquay game, and he said, "You think we'll be all right?" And I listened to what he said the week before, and I thought he spoke well. And I think we will be okay, because I think we'll have enough quality with the players that we've brought in to just do enough to survive. But Boxing Day, were just one of the lowest points for a long time. And let's hope we can get some kind of bounce back on New Year's Day, and a shift put in that the fans at least can go away, seeing or believing that the players are up for it. Really, it was really disappointing.
Where does that? We like to think that there's enough quality in the squad. Where does that shift come? Does it come from? I was having a conversation with someone on Saturday, and I was saying, like, at what point do the players on the pitch, somebody on that pitch, a leader on that pitch, captain, said, "This is not working," and change the game on the field, and then have it out with a manager at half time, if that's what needs to be? Because I think that they all stuck to the manager's game plan on Saturday.
Absolutely.
And it did not work, but nobody at the right time changed it. There was mistake. The defending was abysmal. The defending was shocking, and Unsworth can do what he wants with them on Monday to Friday, but you can't account for, the first cross of the game went right between our two centre halves. None of them took responsibility for it. It probably should have been Hogan who took responsibility for it. But these are your two senior guys on the pitch. I don't know where the leadership is going to come from, because tactically, that formation was just it should have been changed.
I thought
sorry,
to me they were defending this. So no, mate, it's fact. I mean, to me they were defending the spaces, which is what they've been told to do. You know, when Reed came on in second half, he tried to press, didn't he? He got about a little bit. You know, he were trying to show some level of urgency. They just didn't lay a glove on him, did they? But I think even starting at front two with Tollett, he was trying to manage the space to prevent the ball being passed as opposed to pressing the player to try and win it back. Now they're being told to do that for whatever reason. But
I thought when we scored straight after, I thought, here we go, and then I couldn't believe it when we got that free kick got given away by Gardner trying to do a Cruyff turn in front of his own area. See, he tried to do a little fancy turn, didn't he? And then give away the free kick because he got caught in possession. And I just thought, and then as soon as he scored, I went downstairs to the bar. I thought, I can't watch this. My dad went home. My brother went home. And then I said, I'm going to get you a beer, mate. And Matt, you came down. And he came down, went for a piss, and we were 4-1 down. It was just like, oh my God, capitulation. It was just so bad. It was so bad. It's you can't defend it though, can you?
You can't, but he set it up to be toxic because when he first came in, his first interview, he thought we could get in playoffs. And that were with the current squad that we had. They were his words. And then after a month, 5 weeks, 5 games, whatever, they were then all accountable and not good enough. You know, you've people like, you know, Clark in there, who are obviously one of the guys that have been exposed as being not good enough. And he's probably played, 250 football league games in his career, and just looked shot in confidence in first 3 or 4 games that Unsworth were in charge. But I don't understand the way he's come in and communicated. Does he need media training? Is he just out of his depth in terms of being able to manage a club of our size and set the right expectations? It's just been all disjointed in the wrong way around. And as I say, I listened to that crew manager who's obviously under pressure in quite a new role. And if you just listen to the way he spoke, I mean, if you listen to the Notts County manager after the game, he spoke so well. And it's probably easier when you've won a game, but even when we've beat Yeovil or we've beat Torquay, there's no substance behind it. There's no reassurance. There's no, you know, I don't know what it is, but he just seems to be totally out of his depth, in my opinion. And it's a shame. It is a shame.
Before we move on to the next caller, what do you where are you at? Do you stick? Do you twist? What do
you asked that question a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? And I would have twisted then, and I think I would still twist. And who we get and how we go about it is I mean, John Esk has been mentioned quite a few times. I think somebody in the league would absolutely be crucial because it's a different type of football as you've seen for the, you know, in the number of games that we've had this year. But I think you've got to twist because if we don't, as I say, I think we've probably got enough just to survive. But it's going to be late because if you look at the fixtures that we've got, sort of March, April time, that a lot of those are in and around that middle areas, middle area of the table that you just thought we've got enough. Doesn't.
Well, mate, thanks, David, for your call. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, lads.
Thanks, pal.
All the best, mate. Happy New Year, pal.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye. Bradley.
Hiya, lads. You all right?
Yeah. Are you, mate?
Yeah, you still a bit rough?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty bad. There in the dog now. I didn't drink yesterday, but here we go.
I mean, we had a good talk on Saturday after the game in pub and, you know, on the coach on the way back and stuff. How are you feeling a couple of days later?
It's just how bad it was. I've rewatched the goals. Nobody went into that game thinking that we would get a win, but we wanted a performance. We would have come away and got to beat 2-1, 3-1. We'd give it a good go, then fair enough. But it was like Wrexham away when we set up in the FA Cup there. Just the players didn't have a clue what to do. The flat back five, I don't understand why he's gone for that formation. Sheeran, he was absolute. I had no idea where to play. He was playing them all on side. Our midfield is a big hole between Hogan, Clark, and our midfield, where we seriously need a ball-winning midfielder who can get hold of the ball and pass it about. Look at Notts County; they had Matty Palmer dropping deep, and even when even second half, they took him off and they brought John Bostock on. Who did the same job. It could have been 5, 6, 7 on a Boxing Day. It was woeful.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. And we still look really unbalanced. We don't that for me, like that five, it played basically like with the 5-3-2. But like there was no legs in Gardner to press and support the front two, was there at all? And then like we were really narrow as well, even though in the final 2/3 of the pitch there was no press. They were getting in down either side of us, and Unsworth in his interview was saying that they were just, it was almost as if we just caught them on a really good day and they were, they're like, Brazil or something. We gave them all the time and all the space on the ball that they wanted. They pulled us around the pitch at their leisure, and then when they saw an opening, pinged the ball over or throw the channels or through and just did whatever they wanted because we gave them the time and the space to do it. And for me, that front five, if you like, or you got playing five at the back, that should give you the opportunity to push on more and push them back into their half of the pitch and pressure them on the ball. We didn't. We just sat back and just gave them all the time and the space, and they just destroyed us. And if we do the same on Saturday, they'll destroy us again on Saturday.
Exactly that. And you've got to remember their best player was injured. He weren't even playing. He's back on New Year's Day.
He'll get 4 on his own, won't he?
Exactly. Yeah, he must have been gutted to miss that because it was an absolute field day for the strikers. Just how easy it was. It was just baffling. Obviously, we get back into the game. We can't go up the other end and score straight away. We think, oh, decent. We might be giving it a bit of a go here, but it's just bizarre. You play 5-3-2, flat back five. Nuttall, I felt sorry for him. He was up front. He took his goal well, but then you got Reed, who needs to play for target man. He's not playing him again. And then at our time when the game's already lost 4-1, he changes to a 4-4-2. It just doesn't make any sense what he's doing.
Well,
I think he's just too arrogant.
Well, when what he does when he feels like he's chasing the game and needs goals, he's switched to a 4-4-2. He did it against Torquay and it worked. Obviously, at 4-1 down, it wasn't going to work. It seems to me that when in his mind, he's thinking, when I need goals, I'm going to go for a 4-4-2. Well, yeah. I would like to politely say, Dave Unsworth, that you need goals from the start of matches. We can't afford to go behind because you've said it yourself. The character of the team isn't good enough to come from behind. All right, we did it straight away the other day, but that was basically the only chance of the game that we really made, weren't it? That one, that was the only one I remember anyway. And we can't afford to be going behind. We have to go to try and win a game from the start of the game. That's what successful teams do. They don't try and wait until they're 2 goals behind to change it or they're really struggling. And he's not doing that. And for me, we've been very, very patient with him on this podcast and this phone-in. But he's got to front up now. He's got to see that what he's doing isn't working. He's got to show us that he's worth the money and make the changes. And the club as a whole, the manager, the board, they've got to look at, right, this is not working and we're in real danger of going down. What do we do? And they need to really do it, because otherwise we've got 3 games in hand on Maidstone, but if we lose them all, that's no good. And we're in real danger of going down again.
Yeah, definitely. Teams around us are starting to pick up points. Like Scunthorpe had a battling performance against Chesterfield. They only got beat 2-1. Gateshead had another good win. They build on momentum. They absolutely battered Gloucester in that FA Trophy game. They go out the next game. And they go and beat York 3-0. That's the momentum. That's the type of performance which we should against Peterborough Sports, smashing them, and then we go into the next game with a bit of confidence. Yeovil, Torquay, they play each other again. They both picked up a point each. You can start to see that mini table coming together again now. And I look at our runs coming up now. We've got Notts County, Dorking away, Wealdstone away, and Southend at home. They are tough games. There are teams. Yeah. Wealdstone and Southend are both going for the playoffs. Dorking are a mid-table team, but they will attack us. You just think, where's our next points coming from? It's very scary at the moment, and something does need to give.
Well, we're going into the new year, Brad. We haven't won away all season. We've not won away. We get to the new year, we haven't won away. You say you've got tough games coming up. Every single game in this division so far has been tough. And I don't know. It's not up to us now. All we're doing is saying what we see, right? And I want Unsworth. I want it to change, and I want it to work for him, because I don't see that would be easier than anything else. But if he's going to do it, he's got to prove that he can do it. And I agree with David, who called up before. I think it was actually very rude and disrespectful of him not to come and clap the supporters on Boxing Day. The fans have made that, nearly 900 fans made that trip down. And he doesn't, and his team performs like that, and he doesn't come and clap at the. I don't think that's on. I think that's out of order. I really do. And you know, the animosity and the toxicity, if you want to call it that, in the away end towards the manager, it wasn't just a few people, was it? There was a lot of people. And based on that performance, it's hard to
can't defend
to say that it should have been any other way, really.
Yeah, like I said, he's not tried to build bridges from the start. He's not any games he's done it. Even the 2 wins which he's had, he's not come over. He doesn't mention the fans in any of the interviews. It's just very bizarre that with the paying custodians of the club, with the life of the place, he should be trying to get us on side. He's completely lost the fans. You can see it. It's very hard. Once the fans go, it's very hard to come round. It's very similar to when David done what he's like. And I feel like he's going to come out in an interview when he gets wins and say, "Oh, stick it to the fans." That's what I feel like he's going to do. Because he said that. I feel like he's been getting a lot of shit, basically.
Well, it was the kind of performance and the kind of day where you get pumped 4-1. It could have been 9-1, right? First of all. And for me, if it was, listen, I don't want to compare him and Shez and stuff, but I think the reason that fans really liked Shez was Shez would have come out after that game and said, those fans deserve better than that. They've come out here again. They've supported the team again. Because the fans started off the beginning of the game clapping and singing and trying to get behind the team. Notts County's atmosphere, by the way, was shocking, wasn't it? Their fans were absolutely shocking. But straight away, like, you know, it's very, very hard to keep that up. That when, you know, you go 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, and then it just goes like that. I think the fans deserve some acknowledgement from the manager. But I think he went down the tunnel with his tail between his legs, and he didn't front up and he didn't show the character to go over and to clap the fans off and front up. And that's not me being overly critical of him or anything. That's just a fact. And I think that he should have done. I think if you want to earn the respect of the fans, then that's what you've got to do, because they're still turning up in numbers despite having not won away all season. And it's...
How long's he got then, do you think?
I don't know. The problem we got, he's on a 3-year deal. I know obviously there's going to be a severance pay on there. It depends what that is. In any other circumstance, I think any other in the past, he would have gone by now. He would have been sacked, but I don't know how long he's going to get, because they're clearly looking at backing him. If they're signing Colclough from Altrincham, which is going to be a lot of money to bring him in, he's obviously being backed, and we're spending a lot of money, more than which I remember in a long time that we spent. So they are still backing him, but if you come out this January and we're still in the bottom 4, he has 100% got to go. I think he's got to go now. I think he's got to make the honourable decision and resign, say it's too much, the club's going to go, and then that's the way. But I just can't see that he's going to go, and I can't see him being sacked anytime soon.
Do you think that come New Year's Day he will make changes to how he plays and give, you know, and go 4-4? Do you think he's got no choice now but to do that?
Yeah, he's 100% got to go 4-4-2. I can't see it. I think he'll revert to his 4-3-3. I think we'll probably see Alex Reid play right wing with Nuttall in the middle and Tollett left wing with Rooney. I think Rooney will come in as well. I think he'll probably play Rooney as a holding midfielder alongside Gardner with Peck as well, and maybe Chapman in that position. But I don't know. I fear the worst again. That I think an absolute another mauling will probably be on the cards.
If they get an early goal, it's just going to be, you know.
Yeah, that's what caused it on Boxing Day. It's just.
But we got that equaliser, and I thought, here we go. This is going to be a humdinger. This, you know, we're going to score. They're going to score. One of those Christmas games where there's loads of goals and everything. But it just, we had a bit of joy for, you know, it was 2-1 after 10 minutes. I thought this is going to be an epic. But
I could. The fans, we conceded in the first 2 minutes again. The fans will turn straight away, and obviously we've had a chance to David Unsworth. Your football is shit, and it is shit.
Oh, well, we'll leave it on that note then, Brad. Cheers, mate. We'll see you on New Year's Day. All right, pal.
See you later, lads.
See you later,
okay, bye-bye.
I don't know who was next in, but should we ever see who's Mike? Oh, is that is that who's? Let's get someone we've not spoken to. Yeah, who's not been on before.
Andy D.
Who's that?
Andy D there.
All right, Andy.
Hi, mate. All right.
Yeah, just about. How are you?
Well, I've been watching Latics since 1974, and that's the first time I've walked out of a game after 42 minutes.
Wow.
It took me over 3 hours to get there because there was traffic on the M6 coming down from Preston. And after 42 minutes, I just threw the towel in and went. And I can admit and I can accept that players have bad games, but they weren't even set up right. And I don't think they wanted to play that style themselves.
No.
You could see them walking after the ball. Everybody's saying how well Notts County played. We let them play like that.
Agreed.
You know, Chaddy FC could have played like that against us the other day. We
Yeah,
weren't
we
within
all the time and space that anyone would.
Yeah.
Want.
Yeah. You know, we were making average players look like world beaters because we give them time to get hold of the ball, look up, look sideways, forwards, backwards, and just they always pick the best option because they had time to pick it.
What do you think he's lost the dressing room?
I think he has. You know,
there's a lot of reactions from the players that I've seen where you can see that clearly the managers had no effect on them. You know, people walking about, not pressing. They looked in two minds on everything. They didn't want the ball. There were players who didn't want the ball. They were nervous in possession. You know, it wasn't great at all, was it, to watch? You know,
it wasn't. And our goal, actually, in the context of the game, it was the best goal of the game. It was an absolutely great move.
Yeah.
So it just shows you what we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Confidence is going to be at an all-time low in it on New Year's Day.
I don't think I'm going, lads. I can't. Really? At the moment, I can't go because I can't get myself off my ass at home to go and watch that again.
Well, that's the thing. There has to be something in it for us as fans, and that old saying in football, you're only as good as your last performance. Well, if you're only as good as your last performance, for the vast majority of this season, we've been terrible because most of the performances have been terrible. We've scraped a few wins and that's it. And results wise and performance wise, arguably, we've gone backwards since the new manager came in, and that's just. We hear a lot about stats and this and that and the other. That's all well and good, but there has to be results at the end of it, doesn't there? And we're fans
100%.
And we're concerned now. And we have every right to be concerned. That's that thing that I read out at the beginning was how fans from another club have seen us, and they're delighted that they've got us again on New Year's Day. They can't believe the luck. This is like another 6 points in our chase for the title. Because there was absolutely nothing in that performance to suggest that we've got what it takes to beat Notts County.
We'll never beat them. We wouldn't beat them with 12 men on unless we played a different style of football.
What would you play?
Me, you've got to play 4-4-2.
Who do we have? Who would you put someone like Abrams on the right of the midfield? Because we don't really have a proper right back because Sheeran's playing there. We don't really have a right-sided midfield player. And if you wanted to play Tollett out on the left, if you were going to play 4-4-2 to play Tollett, then you'd have to play probably Peck and Gardner, and then Peck and Chapman. I wouldn't play Gardner. I don't think he's got the legs for it. I don't think.
No.
And then Abrams, and then Reed and Nuttall up top. That would have. I think that would have.
Well, there's still a rumour of Colclough flying about in the sea. He might be there on New Year's Day. You just don't know.
Maybe, yeah. But I mean, it can't be easy to. Joe Nuttall's choice was come to Latics and get relegated with us, or stay at Scunthorpe and get relegated with them. But it must be difficult to bring players who are either looking at in the National League North and looking to go up the division to come to a club that is struggling like us. It's only going to make signing players more and more difficult.
Yeah,
the longer we're struggling in that bottom four, isn't it?
Well, we hope you make it on. We change your mind, Andy.
Andy, you do something really nice and spoil yourself on New Year's Day instead.
We're going to move on to the next caller, mate.
All right then, lads.
Take care,
lads.
Nice one, mate.
Hello, who's this, please?
Hello, guys. You okay?
Good, thanks, mate.
Just about, mate. How are you?
very upset with the performance. I feel something needs to badly change at the club because it's just heading in one direction at the moment. I've given him the benefit of the doubt. I've tried to support him. I had a few little words with him after the game, and that's it. He's lost contact with me, which is disappointing because he needs to keep the relationship with the fans. He's never had any relationship. I tried to make relationship with him as a fan, and that was woeful on that result, and something needs to change. I don't know what the club is playing at the moment, because if it was another owner, by now he would have sacked him. And I don't know where we're going at the moment, and I just feel sorry for Frank at the moment because I don't know if he understands.
Ibby, what did you discuss with him when you spoke to him after the game?
About the fans' chants and why you didn't play 4-4-2, and I had no acknowledgement with the message from him, and it looks like he went and blocked me, which I'm very disappointed because I've not been rude to him. Or last day I tried to support him, and I've left a message with somebody. I'll wait and see if he speaks to me again. But I wanted a relationship with him as a fan because he's our manager. I want to get behind him. I want him to succeed. But at the moment, it's looking grim. And we're looking a bit silly, all of us, trying to back him because he's not really considering what needs to be done. And I feel sorry for everybody. The hard-earned money, the travelling, and the players look lost. I think he's lost the dressing room. And I'm just dreading what will be happening next. And if I was Frank, I would absolutely consider changing managers because why? We went down twice under the other owners. I don't want another relegation because this club means a lot to me.
Well, one thing that the club will be doing now at the end of the day, when you've got the Rothwell family who are business people, successful business people, and you only get successful in business by looking at the bottom line and, you know, working out what it will mean financially for the club to go down next season, and working all that out because, you know, I can't imagine. I don't no idea what it's going to be worth, but it's going to mean a substantial loss in revenue. And as business people, taking all the emotion out of it, taking everything else out of it, they will be looking at that and they will make the decisions based on that. And so that's why when I've been saying about trusting the board to make the right decisions at the right time, I believe that they will because there's a lot of money gone into this, and you know I believe that they're trying to be loyal. They're trying to be loyal to the decisions. They're trying to be loyal to the people that they brought in. But, and this is where, you know, I've said over and over again, this is where the responsibility lies with Unsworth. With Unsworth, first and foremost, he's got to change how he's doing things because what he's trying to do at the minute is not working. He's not got the fans on side. It's arguable whether he's got his team on side because they're not performing for him. And it's up to him. We come on here every week. Right, and some, you know, we put ourselves out there, and we're either, you know, it is what it is. If nobody ever watched, then we'd have to stop. If nobody ever engaged, we'd have to either change what we're doing or do something differently. And we take the responsibility to think, well, is this a success? Is not a success? Like anything, it's up to him to change what he's doing and start getting performances out of the team because that's his job. And I'll stick by the manager. I'll stick by the players as long as they play for Oldham. But like, it's
well, I feel it's gone well past that now because it was toxic at the game, and the fans have made their decision. And for the past few weeks, I've been trying to support David Unsworth, and I've been getting a lot of abuse by idiots who are posting a lot of rubbish about me on forums and Twitters and all this. That will never silence me. I love my club, and I will continue.
We're not getting into that.
Once you put yourself out there, mate, and you put yourself out in the public, it happens to you, it happens to us, it happens to the manager, and that's par for the course. It's not right, and I don't condone it. And I feel for you and anybody else who has to get stick. And it's, you know, and the people who do it are just sad people. So I wouldn't worry about them too much, Ibby. But
well, have a happy New Year, Ibby. We'll see you on New Year's Day. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Right,
Thank you, guys.
Take
all
care.
the best, pal.
Bye.
Gaza.
Gaza.
How are you, lads?
All right. How are you?
Just about recovered.
All right.
Everyone.
Since the fog has cleared, how are you feeling about the performance at the weekend and about the upcoming fixture on New Year's Day?
Equally poor regarding both of it, to be honest. I think obviously going back to the game on Monday, Boxing Day, and when you watch the goals, they look worse than how they actually felt at the time. There's a few things I've picked up on since when I thought back about it. Unsworth went straight down the tunnel, but I know a few others noticed as well. Liam Hogan did as well. So you've got a few of the players going straight down. You've got a few of the players coming over, giving a half-hearted clap, and then you've got like Peter Clark, who's straight over, and not all, to be fair, came over. So you've got a few players who understand about, you know, the relationship. I was saying at the end when the whistle went, I mean, I was trying to get people around me to go me. I said, the away end being empty 10 minutes before the end has more of an impact than us standing here booing. Because we're not booing the players, we're booing Unsworth. And he's not there anyway. He's straight down the tunnel. And it's damning. The stuff we're reading from Everton fans who, you know, they must be diehards to care enough and knowing about the under-23 squad's damning. The stuff we heard from the Notts County podcast, which you read out at the start, is damning. I don't care if we're running more in training, if we're running more on the pitch. I'd argue to the naked eye we're not. He comments after the game. I mean, I think we executed his plan. He was happy with what we done. But it's unbelievably passive. And what these players have got to do now, they've either got to down tools for Unsworth and say, bollocks, when I'm on the pitch, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting myself through this. And it might get him dropped to the next game or two. But you know what? If we get a result, it might just force his hand to change how we're playing. I think you could be 4-4-2, 4-5-1, 3-5-2, or play a Christmas tree. With the tactics, it's not going to matter. If we are being that passive, we're not pressing the ball, we're trying to contain space. The idea behind not pressing and sitting in your own half is to frustrate the life out of your opponents. We don't do it. You can't sit off the ball, but let them be free. One has to work for the other. So you sit off, you frustrate them, they make silly decisions, they overcommit, and you hit them on the break. It had gone, hadn't it, within 5-6 minutes. Previous caller about our goal, he was absolutely bang on. When are you most vulnerable? When you've just scored a goal.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first emotional reaction we've seen from these players. And there was a bit of venom for about 3 or 4 minutes. They had a bit of venom about them. And then it was like, once we got the 1-1, it was back to type. Right, this is what he wants us to do. We've got to stay here. We've got to stay here. And then they turned then, didn't they? They turned the screw a little bit. I don't think they had probably had 1 or 2 sprints more than us all game. I don't remember seeing one of their players actually break sweat.
But they didn't have to, did they?
No. Their atmosphere was rubbish, but they turned up to watch. It must have been. It was like a testimonial, really, wasn't it? It was like when we used to play Curzon away and stuff. That's how it was.
It was
I'm desperately worried. Someone said it mentions a Damien Dunn. It reminds me of Harry Kewell a little bit, and I always remember thinking Kewell. Even when we weren't there because it was COVID, so I always used to think, does he not acknowledge the fans because we're not there? Or Harry Kewell's in it for Harry Kewell. I think David Unsworth's in it for David Unsworth. And I didn't have an issue with Harry Kewell being in it for Harry Kewell if it benefited Oldham Athletic. This isn't benefiting Oldham Athletic. This is making us worse. And I don't know at what point does he not even say to himself or his backroom staff, God, we're shit, aren't we? What we're going to do here? Because I'm not seeing that at all. It's just this nonsense. I mean, how can you butter another team up so much as that when we're about to play them again in 4 days?
I think what we need as fans, guys, is a bit of honesty from
absolutely.
the manager, from the club. Like the thing, it's frustrating. It's frustrating when, I mean, I frustrated people by trying to be positive and all the time. And it frustrates people, when you get it from, let's just be honest. I spoke to people from the club after one of the games and said, look, it was shit that won it. And, the response was very sort of like trying to be upbeat and positive about it, when it was just a case of, no, it was shit.
Yeah.
And let's take it from there. We know all the other stuff behind the scenes is going well. We know that there's good decisions being made, but they're not getting everything right. And I've tried to be very patient, but I thought some of the stuff around the beginning at the beginning about the hype around it all, I thought it was too much. I didn't want to say anything at the time, but and then that kind of like those kind of comments about Dorking and the stuff with Wrexham. I don't think that stuff was right. I think it's made what was a tough situation even more difficult.
Yeah, I agree there, Matt. But to me, that still has no bearing on our performances on the pitch. I think it can make you look a little bit silly. But
my point
in terms of on the pitch,
the point on it all is, though, Gaz, is that throughout no one's saying, we know that they've done a lot of stuff good, a lot of great stuff, but they make mistakes as well, and they do.
Yeah.
And it's about like, so let's just have there's some accountability for these things and say, right, well, what's going to change? And
that's all we need from Unsworth.
Acknowledge that something's not right, and something's not right.
And that's all we need from Unsworth. We need him to just acknowledge things. I'm absolutely 90% sure he's lost the dressing room now. Not just through some walking on the tunnel, some staying. You're seeing players react on Twitter. The backroom staff messaging fans. You're hearing he's coming out and digging out Vaughan. He's signed Reed and he's not playing him. I'm telling you, these are not happy. This is not an happy camp. And I hope that when they're in that changing room after the game, I hope to God someone like Peter Clark was fucking digging people out and giving it them, because it's not good enough. It's a disgrace, actually.
I agree. I mean, if the way I was as a player, it definitely would have been that kind of performance. I'd be going absolutely spur. And I didn't see any of that on the pitch. We've said it again. Yeah. We've said it last season and the season before, that when the game's going wrong, there's not enough characters on the pitch, and they're telling us that the players that they're signing are the characters that you need. And
they're not playing for him.
Show it, don't they? Because they're not doing.
They're not playing for him. They're probably confused. In addition to this, you're hearing rumours of him driving to the away games. These things matter. He was saying a few weeks ago, well, he just loves this town, he just loves this club. I find him so disingenuous. It's unbelievable. I don't know what it is. Why would David Unsworth? He's probably a multimillionaire, played at the very highest level, international or whatever, top Premier League, played in Europe. He's not going to do the honourable thing. He don't care about little old Oldham Athletic. Why is he going to give a shit about us? But what David Unsworth does need to do now, and I hope he listens to these kind of things, is think about how he can protect David Unsworth. Because even if he comes out and says the training ground was shit, the players were washing their own kit, I weren't getting wages paid, that's why I had to quit, that's why I got no results. Fair enough. David Unsworth needs to protect David Unsworth, and that is the only way he can do it is by walking away.
Right. Well, mate. Next time you come on, say what you think, right?
No worries, lads.
All right, guys. Nice to talk to you, mate.
Ta-ra. Dave
right, bring Dave in.
Hello, Dave.
Hiya, fellas. How are you doing?
All right. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. To you?
Yeah, it's only a game, isn't it?
It's only football.
I wish it only was a game. I'm an Athletics fan since 1970, and I've travelled up and down the country, abroad. I've been in Arts and Midlothian. I've been Plymouth Argyle. I've been everywhere watching them, and I've never seen them as bad as what they are now.
Really?
We listen to David Unsworth, and he comes on, and he tells us about this fantastic team who, in training, they are superb. They do everything. They're a great bunch of lads. Well, they're not a great bunch of lads, are they? Because on a Saturday afternoon at 3:00, we see them and they turn out and they're a pub team. They're no better than a pub team. We've not battered anybody this year. In the last 3 or 4 interviews, Unsworth said, we're going to batter somebody someday. We couldn't batter ourselves. We've struggled against Chester. We've struggled against Peterborough Sports. We've struggled against everybody this year. The games that we won, we only just won. The only game I've ever seen Oldham Athletic this season play where we played very well for 75, 80 minutes was against Wrexham. Other than that, we've been hit and miss. And I'm tired with Unsworth's excuse after excuse after excuse for each and every game. He wasn't my choice, and I certainly didn't believe he was the right appointment at the time. I think we could have done better.
Who would you have had?
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and he hasn't done anything to appease me to say that he's the right person for the job.
I think the points that you make, the bringing in the games against Chester and Peterborough Sports are relevant because, we've really struggled against the team in the division below us. And you look at where we are now, there's not a lot of difference between the clubs at the bottom of this division and the top of National League North, is there? So there's nothing to suggest, based on the performances against National League North sides, that if we did go down, that we'd be able to compete in that division at the minute.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you.
And that's the worry.
Well,
we can only base our judgment of the team, the manager, and the manager on the performances that we see week in, week out. And the performances we've seen week in, week out for the last, 18 games now under Unsworth or something like that, 19 games. It's been poor, and it's not getting any better.
No.
Do you know the team that came to Oldham Athletic this season up to now? Wealdstone. Who the hell are Wealdstone? Wealdstone FC. They come up and they absolutely battered us in that first half. They knocked the ball about in the first half. They scored 2 goals and we couldn't get the ball off them for half an hour. We were playing somebody like City or Leeds or Liverpool. They just knocked the ball about their back four, took the mick out of our forward line. We didn't have a clue. Against Wealdstone. Oldham Athletic, former Premier League, against Wealdstone.
But we are where we are, and we are where we are because the club has been so badly run for such a long time. And I don't necessarily expect everything to just change it like that. But just trying to look at it where we are now, something on the pitch, something within the playing side of things has to change quickly if we're going to survive.
We played Rochdale over 12 months ago at Oldham at Boundary Park. It was 0-0. It was a dreadful. It was Sheridan's first game back. 4 days later, we played Bristol Rovers on a Tuesday night. Same team, exactly the same team. We absolutely battered them. Played fantastic football. I don't know what it is with them. It's the same players doing the same job on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Monday or a Tuesday, whatever. But this guy's come in now and he's made excuses that he's inherited not the best players that he wanted. He's brought in the best part of 11 players now, and we're still no better than where we were at the beginning of the season. We're not playing any better football. We're not doing any better attacking. Why are we playing one up front?
The thing is, Dave, is that the reality of the situation is that we were doing better with what was supposed to be a worse squad than what we've got now. We've got a better squad now, and our results aren't improving. And that's the worry. Shez was getting more out of less than what we've got now. That's just a fact. So until that changes, that's just going to be the way it is.
He keeps telling us, and Ebril keeps telling us, we're going to batter somebody one day. Who are we going to batter?
Notts County on New Year's Day, mate. If anyone's got anything positive to say, and anyone's got an optimist, you want, mate?
County. I wish we could, but
no.
Well, do you think he should go then?
Pardon?
Do you think he should go?
I think he should. I think he's well past his sell-by date. Yeah. I think when I've listened to him talk, he's never convinced me he's the right person for the position. I don't think he's got the backing of the players. If he keeps telling us, and he does, that them lads are a fantastic bunch of lads and they keep doing it on the training pitch, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they get out there on Saturday and they don't do it on a Saturday. I don't get that. Because they're not if they work for me, they'd be doing it on a Saturday as they do it on training. And they're not doing it on a Saturday. None of them.
Thanks for calling in, mate. Thanks very much. Take care. All the best.
I want to see who that is. Who the heck's Burger Darts?
Burger Darts, you're on.
Hello?
Burger Darts, you're gone. Hi, Si. You all right, mate? Unmute yourself, mate.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we got you now.
You're right. Yeah, I was a massive David Unders supporter, but last 3 games, definitely he's got to go. And if it was me, I'd get rid of him now. If I was Darren Royal, I'd look back at it now and say, I've made a monumental mistake, and he has to go. There's just been no progress, as everybody else has said. We've just gone backwards. I feel really sorry for Frank. He's pumped, thousands in. He's bought Reed, who was a leading scorer, who's now impotent, and you can see the body language of Reed on the Solihull Moors game when he just trudged off, when he was just pulled off in that game. You could just see his body language. He's thinking, I've come here, I'm fired up against Solihull Moors, I want to score a goal, you've isolated me, and I just can't play. And he trudged off, and it was the same in the Peterborough game as well last week. We made them look good. They should have scored. We were desperately lucky to get that penalty win. We should have lost. I saw you, David, at the back. I was standing next to you at the penalty shootout, and I just thought it was just, we shouldn't have even been at this stage. We should have battered them, but we made them look brilliant. And everybody's seeing exactly the tactics. You listen to the counter. So Mark Stallard was the commentator on Boxing Day, and he could see it straight away. He said the gap between defence and midfield was just shocking. There was no intensity on our part. We were making Notts County look brilliant, and it's just been coming for games. Solihull should have battered us if they just didn't finish it. Peterborough is the same, and Notts County, you had incisive strikers at the front end, and guess what? We lose 4-1. So something's got to change dramatically, and I just don't think it's going to happen with Unsworth. I just don't think he's open enough to change his structure. I think he's just stubborn. He should have got a defensive midfield in sooner if there was money available, and he hasn't just done that. He's just brought these 2 strikers in and isolated both of them, making them look totally ineffective. He's just extended Abraham's now until the end of the season, and he's probably going to play him out on the right. Whereas, it's just, I just don't get it. I just really don't get it.
Our biggest attacking, our threat, where the goals came from against Torquay, was that combination of Kitching and Tollett down that left-hand side. They look like there's something there.
Yeah.
And by playing what he did on against Notts County, it took all that threat away. Obviously, Tollett didn't play against Peterborough Sports, but all that threat has gone. I don't understand it because we haven't got anything else down the other side, and that's all down to the manager. Now the manager and his staff obviously spend a lot of time through the week looking at the opposition and analysing their own team and thinking about what the best system is to play. But if they're spending all that time and effort doing that and putting things like this out week in, week out, then it brings into question how effective that planning is, doesn't it? Or whether is it the players who can't follow it out to the letter? But like a couple of the callers have said today, it seemed like the players carried out what they wanted because they actually kept their formation. I thought they were quite disciplined in keeping their formation this week, but it was ineffective.
I just can't understand why you don't play a 4-4-2.
I just want to make a comment on first time. This one here, seen Dave looking a broken man. That's got nothing to do with the result.
Nothing to do with the result. That's just due to the fact that I went to Envy till 4 a.m. 2 nights ago.
He's still trying, still recovering.
Still shocked at myself, and I'm constantly having words with myself about that one. So apologies. Yeah. So get rid of that comment anyway. I just don't understand the 4-4-2. You got Tom Nixon made a great point. Reed and Nuttall have got just under 20 goals between them before they sign for us. And what does he do? Play one up top. It's just baffles belief, doesn't it?
I just, as I say, he's coming as the manager, and I think he thinks he's bigger than the club. And I know, you know, he sang the praises and he said he's fallen in with the club and all that sort of stuff. I don't know. He's not warming to me. He gave a good show at the start. You know, he said the right things, but it's just the way he's just not, you know, bonded with the fans. There's no recognition at the end of it all, and it's just, I say, there's just no warmth there. And I'm not expecting, you know, Dowie punching in the air and all that sort of stuff. It just seems like it's his way and that's it. And he just doesn't give a damn about the fans and what we're saying and all that sort of stuff. And I think all the hard work that the Royals have put in and Frank's put in and all the good work off the back of it all, you've just got this one, and I know it's a key factor with the manager, that is going to undermine the whole lot. And I think, you know, time has come now that we have to cut our losses. And it's just part of me thinking, if we had Alexander in charge or Askey in charge with that bunch of players, where would we be?
Are you going to go on New Year's Day?
Yeah. I posted on Twitter. Yeah, I've got 3 of us going. So my family want to go as well. So I've got 4 of us trudging up there on New Year's Day. So I'll be in the section 2 behind the goal, and yeah.
Well, let's hope for a result then. If we all deserve
Yeah.
it, don't we? All right, mate. Happy New Year.
Cheers.
Happy New Year. All the best. Thanks for ringing in.
See you later, Si. Just want to bring this in here. 2022 has been the worst ever year for Oldham Athletic. Can 2023 be worse? Yeah. I don't want to worry about 2023. Just what I do want to say is make sure you listen to our 2022 Review of the Year podcast, which came out on Boxing Day. We've got that and an interview with Roy, which we've also done 2 episodes, because we won't be putting one out now until the 9th of January, because I'm not doing one after Notts County, which is on the Monday, is it, or the Sunday, whatever. Anyway. I think so we're going to do that the following year, but the following will be on this week and next week as usual. But yeah, if you want to listen back to the year 2022, it has been a mad year. It started terribly and it's ended terribly, but there was loads of stuff that happened in between. So do have a listen for that. So thanks for reminding me about that, Rob, with that. Let's bring John in. Hello, John.
Thanks for waiting, John.
John, unmute yourself, John.
Yeah, here we go. You're all right, lads.
Here we go. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm ever the optimist. This is the first time since Dave Penny I've turned my back on a manager, because for a manager at full time to shake hands with the opposition and then just march straight down the tunnel when you've got 900 fans that have travelled all that way, as far as I'm concerned, is absolutely unforgivable. When I've listened back on his interviews, sort of post-match interviews, in his early days, it was all about the players aren't good enough, the squads aren't good enough, or they're a nice bunch of lads. I want to know where these nice bunch of lads. Where's Burgess gone? He looked like he could kick a ball straight. Where's he suddenly disappeared to? Do you know what I mean? There's no pace at the back. The reason why there's a gap between defence and midfield is because Organ or Clark, you can't play both of them. Too slow.
Yeah, there's not enough pace there, is there? Will Sutton's back on the bench, isn't he? But he's been out for quite a long time, hasn't he?
Is he going to, have they been trying to sharpen him up behind the scenes or anything like that? Because Sutton needs to play on New Year's Day.
But who do you drop, though? Do you drop your club captain or do you drop Peter Clark?
I'd drop Organ.
Yeah.
He's not the player that he promised to be. Again, one of the interviews when you're out injured, he wants to come back early. He's this, he's that, he's the other. He might have been in the past, but I'm not impressed with him.
Well, I'll tell you what, John, when it's a lot easier to be a captain of a good team. It's much easier to be the captain of a successful team than it is to be the captain of a poor team, where, it's great to be a leader of characters who are turning up and who are around you, and you've got the lads around you that you want. It's much more difficult when you're there and you've got lads that aren't doing what you want them to do and aren't pulling the weight and aren't the characters. And maybe that's the difference. You know what I mean? Maybe someone like Hogan was an effective captain in a successful team, but he's not quite the leader in this team. And again, these are not criticisms from my point of view. I want to see these players step up. I want to see them show what they're made of. Just earn the right to call themselves the captain of Oldham Athletic. Earn the right to put on the shirt and be an Oldham player in front of an Oldham crowd. And we will get behind them. But they've got to earn that right. And the same goes for David Unsworth. I completely agree. Walking down the tunnel without acknowledging the away fans on a Boxing Day Christmas is expensive. At the best of times, we all pile down there, and and to just walk off and to ignore us, it's not good enough. And you know what? We'll invite him on here. Let's see if we'll come on here and talk to fans. Like,
I bet he won't. I bet he won't.
I'll put it to him because that's what's needed now. This is what's needed now. This is staying in this division is all about character. It's not about necessarily just about ability. He needs to find a system that works, and then he needs to get character out of the players and out of himself. This is all about character. That's what fights are about. He's got to do that. And so for me, whatever it takes now is whatever he needs to do. Because clearly the fans
he's going to get it in front of main stand on Sunday.
He is. And
100% he's going to get it off them.
Yeah, it could be. Well, should we? Well, we'll come to with someone called David here, just waiting in the background. Dave reckons it might be.
Could
be David.
So hold on to your hats. But John, thanks for your call. Oh no, it's not. Forget it. It's not. It's not. No, we've got another. But thanks for your call, mate. Really appreciate it. But do you think just before you go, do you think you should stay or should you go?
Unsworth.
Yeah.
He's got to go. He has to. He has got, for the disrespect to the fans alone. I think the team and everything else, but walking away from your supporters, it's unforgivable. Can't have that.
Is it unforgivable, or like can it be rectified? Like, I mean, for me, it's just this is all just about learning and growing. Like, for me, it's like listening to what's being said and said, right, okay, listening to those chants and having the character to say, right, let's address this and let's move forward.
If he's prepared to do that, he's got. I think he's too arrogant. I don't think he realises. I don't think you get an admittance out of him that he's actually doing anything wrong or he's making mistakes.
I've been calling for everyone to pull together and everyone to be on the same page and get behind. But it goes two ways, doesn't it? It's not just about. It's not just from the fans. It's from the club as well and the managers and the players. And you know what? Let's hope that starts on Boxing. Well, I've no idea what day New Year's Day is. Is it Sunday?
Sunday.
Well, on New Year's, let's hope it starts on Sunday with against all the odds win, and then because that's what will turn it. That's what starts to turn it around, isn't it?
Yeah, praise be, fella. Yeah.
So let's hope so, mate. Are you going on New Year's Day, John?
Yeah, we're all Oldham, aren't we, at Bournemouth Day?
Yeah, we'll be there.
We all bleed blue.
We need a performance, don't we?
Thanks, John.
All the best, mate. Happy New Year, mate.
Happy New Year. David, welcome.
Wow. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
I've been with this club since 1960s, and I tell you, we gave that team so much room on Boxing Day, that they could have got 8 or 9, but they stopped playing in the second half. They stopped attacking. We let them run riot. The tactics that this man is using is sit back and let everybody run riot against Oldham Athletic, and it's simply not good enough for the public. For those who travel away and those who go at home, this man needs to be removed. I supported him as long as I could, but his tactics are absolutely terrible. I mean, the players are not the best. We all acknowledge that. But I'm absolutely sure if you could manage this team, a different manager came in, you get a different response from this team. We need to attack. The best form of defence in football is attack. We didn't close them down at all. We just let them walk around the park. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's a difference when they're managing under 23s to managing experienced professionals in the National League. Don't get me wrong, but there's that age gap. Do you think he's struggling with that in terms of his man management?
Yes, I believe fervently now that this guy is an under 23 manager. To him, it's about bringing players through to the first team, you see, and not wanting to win. Well, he wants to win, but it's not the be all and end all in his life. It's been bring players through. Now, he did bring players through at Everton, but not many of them went on to very great things. I mean, it's a bit of a lie that he carries, I'm sorry to say, and he needs to go. I believe a man who can manage this team and changes the tactics with attack, close down, would get a better response from these players than this man is getting. And what he did on Saturday, I watched it on television, when he just walked down the tunnel and all those people who paid and gone to Notts County and he'd no respect for them. And then he said it took 4 years for Notts County to get out of this league. 4 years it's going to take him. He doesn't expect 4 years, does he? I wouldn't give him another 1 minute.
Listen, David, it's going to take us 1 year at this rate, but it's not going to be in the direction that we want it to be, is it?
No, this is what worries me now. I was going to give him till the end of January, but this man needs to go. He needs to fall on his sword. Any man would fall on his sword, but of course, it's about the money. But he's terrible, terrible. He needs to go. His excuses are lamentable. I mean, it's shocking. I'm coming down from Scotland to watch the game with the family at the weekend to watch the rematch, and you never know, it could be a reversal of the Tranmere Rovers from many, many decades ago, and we win one. But that's only me dreaming. But
well, I hope so. And look, this is the thing. I mean, you know, like that game at Notts County, most of us came down from Oldham, but people travel from all over the place for those games, especially at Christmas time. And you're coming down from Scotland, and so it's the least that the players and the manager can do to acknowledge the support. It's not like everyone's just walked there from you know, round the corner, and that I think needs to be addressed. And I hope that if anybody from the club is listening to this, and I know they do, that's something that, you know, is acknowledged, that this is a two-way street when it comes to respect and when it comes to, you know, getting each other going and motivating each other. And there are some things that I think need to be addressed, and there's things that need to be looked at in terms of raising the performance and raising standards and winning football matches and doing things. Things have to be done better. If things were being done as well as it could be, I don't think we'd be in this position. Because we're struggling. Things need to up. They need to up the game. And I encourage it. I'm being encouraging. I'm not being overly critical, but we're third bottom in the National League, and you know we've got to, something has got to change.
Do you believe that the players are with him? Because I don't believe they're happy with his system. I believe they've completely they've not thrown in the towel. We just know the tactics do not suit them the way they want to play.
I mean that it's perfectly legitimate to speculate something like that. I mean,
looking at the performance,
but ultimately, again, the responsibility lies with the manager to figure out what it is that's making this team underperform. If he thinks they're underperforming, if the board think they're underperforming, it's his job to figure out what that is. Is it the way that he's playing the team? Is it his relationship with them off the pitch? What is it? I'm only speculating. I'm not saying it's any of those things necessarily, but whatever it is, it's up to him to figure that out as quickly as possible and get us up the table. And if he does that, and at the end of the season, we've gone on a good run and blah blah blah, then great. And it's looking like next season might be better. Then brilliant. Okay, we get right behind him. But the time is starting to. The clock is ticking, and it needs to be addressed ASAP.
It's running out, isn't it?
Yeah. That's brilliant, lads. Thank you.
Sorry.
Right, thanks for calling, David.
Thanks, Dave. Talking to Scotland.
Oh, no.
There he is.
Hey, guys.
Thanks for waiting. Really appreciate it.
I liked your 2022 podcast. It was amazing.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Work.
It took a long time to do, but it was a nice trip down memory lane.
Yeah, it was hard work.
I liked all the sound effects. They were quite cool.
Yeah, I got some sound effects in there, you know, branching out. You know, the thing is what it's all about, though, Graham. You've got to constantly keep trying to up your game and learn new things and put the work in and keep improving. Yeah. And like episodes like that as an opportunity for me to try do those things. And it's the same with, and that's what I've been saying about with fans, trying to be that little bit more encouraging with the club to try and improve things and do things better. But God, it was really hard as a fan to stick by that performance on Boxing Day.
I'm going to be controversial here, right? Because I've got a view, right? Now, you know, I'm not against managers, but I don't think he's the manager. I think he's a coach. I think that somebody's picking the team behind him because obviously he's sitting on the touchline. He's not making any differences. So maybe on that sheet of paper he's got there, he's got like what he has to do. Because no offense, Royal would have changed it by now, surely. So would Frank. I mean, he obviously doesn't seem. He says they're good on the training ground, and they're good when they're good lads on the training ground. I'm thinking he's just coaching them.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe it's not that. I don't think there's anybody else behind him, if you like. But I think it's an interesting question an interesting point you make when it comes to what the difference between being a head coach or being a coach or being a manager is. It is a step up. It is a big difference, and that's what we're finding out about him, and that's been one of the things that people have been concerned about, is that he's not done this before at this level, first team level, consistently over a period of time, although he has got experience of being a caretaker. So this is what we're learning about him, aren't we? We're learning about him as a personality, him as a coach, him as a manager, but we don't have that much time to wait for him to figure it out.
No, again, I think he's got 6 games maximum.
I'm not against sacking managers, but I don't even think he's got 6 games now. I really don't. See, after the Notts County performance, I think we're going to get battered again in New Year's Day. Because look at Charlie Austin, he's pinging balls out to the wing, and he's making every single pass. He wasn't even missing a pass, and he was zipping that across the goal. See, if Norman hadn't been saving the shots, we would have been more down.
It could have been 9-1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was just horrible to watch. I mean, I went to make myself a sandwich at 2-1 and came back and we were 4-1 down.
I think the thing is, exactly that. And I think the thing is, like, where's the next win coming from, and how long do you wait for it, and how far behind the chasing pack are we when we get it? We need a win. We need to be winning. Like, there needs to be a win ratio. We need to be winning. Well, this stage, we need to be winning like 1 in 2 games, don't we? Are picking up 4 points from every.
Who are games in hand against?
Gateshead and Wealdstone.
Yeah.
And somebody else.
No.
We got 3 games in hand on Maidstone, haven't we? Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah. It doesn't look. I think he's right. It doesn't matter, Graham, because there hasn't been one easy game for us. There's not been. And all our wins have been. We've scraped through. We've not won away, so we do not. Every single game is as difficult as the next. Really,
we're on like route that Stockport were on when they went down. We're on that trajectory at the moment, and it's really, really worrying.
The only bonus is that Scunthorpe's not performing well either, so that's kind of giving us a.
4 go down. I'm not. It's only that's a 1 out of 4 really. We're not performing.
The problem is, it's 4 down. Yeah, but the problem is, no, it's 4. Yeah.
Damn.
2 up, but it's 4 down.
Yeah.
But the thing is that in order for us to, once you're in the bottom 4, it doesn't even, if you don't win, and this is going to sound really, really obvious, but like if you don't win the games, it doesn't matter what the teams above you do, because what you want teams above you to have dips in form and then get dragged into it. But if we keep losing games, we won't catch ground on them, will we? And that's ultimately what's happening at the minute. We're not winning enough games, so.
That's getting me, guys. There was 4 teams down. I thought there was only 2.
No.
Yeah,
that's it.
That gave me a bit of stress.
We're going to get through the rest of the calls so that we're not.
Thanks,
on
guys.
all night.
Keep up the good work with the podcast.
Again, mate.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
Graham. And Hogmanay as well. Bye.
Right.
David from Nova Scotia.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Oh,
depressed.
I feel worse now than I did about an hour and 15 minutes ago, but.
I feel worse.
Yeah, I'm more depressed about the state of things.
I've just gone like under. Yeah.
How are you doing?
Not bad. We had some good calls tonight. You made some good points, and good that 2022 podcast. I gave that a listen earlier this afternoon. It was pretty good, especially the bits where you highlighted Barry Owen and his statements from. Some of the comments he made, and then you brought in comments that he made the previous year, and just it was a good podcast.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was good to do, and I was hoping, to be honest with you, that finishing the year there would be a bit more of that kind of a bit more of a positivity, but we are struggling, and we can't deny that, can we?
Do you subscribe to the podcast?
Sorry.
Do you subscribe to the podcast?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Good man. All these callers, you need to subscribe. I'm going to ask everyone.
You were going around in the pub making people subscribe there and then the other day.
And I got 2. 2 out of
Yeah, I subscribed at the very beginning when Matt was doing it from his kitchen in Ireland.
Very good. Very good. Sorry to put you on the spot there, but it's 2023. We need to push the subscribers up.
Well, listen, we've got this here from D Andy G 1 2 3.
D Andy G.
Matt / Dave. We'll answer this in ourselves. But where are you on this, Dave?
So a couple of weeks ago, I was stick and give him the transfer window, but now I'm twist. He's got to go. He's quite a few of the callers and the comments online have made the point that to me, he sounds very similar to David Dunn, coming in with this Billy Big Bollocks attitude of, oh, I'm ex-Premier League, ex-international, I know best. And he's not adapting to the, where he's at and the level of players that he's dealing with, that are around him. And any good coach would look at the players he's got, look at the tools he's got, and then set up the system to, that'll suit the players best. And he's just not doing that. So, and I think he's just like David Dunn was. I think he's just too stubborn to change his ways. I think he won't change.
Well, somebody who certainly agrees with you here is David Hull, who predicts our next win will be in Chorley in September 2023.
Oh, God.
I do sincerely hope that is not correct. But, yeah, I mean, it's worrying. And what I don't know.
It's keeping the faith, but I'm losing faith game by game, if I'm honest.
Twist again, like we did last summer.
Well, we didn't this year.
Oh, let's twist again. Come on, you're not yet. Twist time is here.
Let David make his point.
Go on,
sorry, David.
Sorry, I think some of the callers, the managers that they mentioned, I think Askey would be a good call. I think so the guy from Altrincham, and possibly I would even have Frankie Bunn back, because I think he was getting a tune out of the players when he was last year, and it was just the Lemsigums that copped that up, to put it mildly. I mean, he's like Unsworth. He's a coach going into management, but the thing with Bunn is he's coached at every level. He's coached at lower league clubs. He's coached at League One, Championship, Premier League. He's coached everywhere. As Unsworth, he's just been Everton under 23s, and that's it.
Well, look, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The question. Oh no, that's not the right one. Yeah, the question was for us. Don't worry, we'll answer the question.
Chill out.
But I'm just going through. You chill out.
No, chill out.
But all right, Dave. Thanks for that, mate. We're going to bring Bin Man in, and then we're done. Then
Happy New Year, David.
Happy New Year, mate.
Happy New Year's. Can I just say one quick thing, guys? Just a shout out to the Oldham Athletic supporters in the south, and big thanks to them for when I was over for the Torquay match at the beginning of the season. They kind of took me under their wing while I was down there. So a big thanks to the Oasis guys, and Happy New Year to them and the rest of the Latics supporters.
Great stuff.
Great, lovely stuff.
Cheers, David.
See you later.
Cheers.
Bye.
Here he is, Bin Man.
Hey guys, you all right?
Are you?
No.
You both recovered now?
No.
You look rough, Dave, still.
I am. I tried having air of the dog about an hour and 16 minutes ago, and I feel really bad now.
Good night, though, anyway.
Bin Man, don't bother Bin Man, does it? That's how you do it.
No, but Bin Man was just Bin Man, the non-coat wearing madman.
Just out in a shirt, like someone from Newcastle on a night out.
Yeah.
So,
come on. What do you want to say?
Tell us.
Well, I don't know how to say this really, but I'm going to be honest here. Do you seem to think they don't want to sack him because they don't want to go down the role of going down the Lenzigans role of keep sacking managers? They're nothing like the Lenzigans, absolutely not. We know they're not. But is that, do you think, the reason why he's still here?
I think it's purely financial. I think it's purely financial.
I think that they believe in him because that's why they brought him in.
Yeah.
And they don't want to press the panic button too early because for all the reasons that we were talking about before, like it's not worked for us in the past. You need to try and build something. You need to try consistency. They're sitting there, they're talking to him, they're planning, and they think that something is going to come good. That's why I think they're sticking with it. But there are other things that need to be addressed, I think, and he needs to start getting results.
That's the most important. Well, a couple of weeks ago, lads, on this phone, the calls were quite mixed and saying stick twist, and I think no one now is in the camp of it. And I think everyone that I know, even good friends that do not like sacking managers, are in that camp. I think, guys, we need to pull the trigger, and we need to do it. We need to do it now.
I could potentially. I just roughly worked it out based on, like, let's say Ebrel, Unsworth, and Jeffers are on $2,000 a week. Let's just say that roughly based on 2.6 years now, because he's been here 4 months, and it could potentially cost you maximum, without severance pay and all that, cost you $780,000 now.
Yeah, but it could cost you more if you get relegated.
I don't think. I mean, for me, I don't think it's about looking at it from the point of view of like what you have to pay for. It's for severances and stuff like that. It's got to be the right decision. It's got to be the right decision, and
finance will be a big part of that decision.
Of course it will. Yeah, of course it will. But I mean, I think without the club have all the data and all the information, everything they need in terms of finance and in terms of what they think is going on at the club and all this kind of stuff. They have to come to that decision. Yeah. But to answer Dave Andy's question before about whether I'm in the stick or twist camp, like I said, when you put that little thing out from the interview we did with each other at half time at Notts County,
the sober one,
it sounded really sober. Is that if it was me, I tried to look at it from the point of view if I was on the board, I'd be going to him and I'd be telling him now that he's got a certain amount of time, a certain amount of games, and that he needs to. I don't think, from my point of view, that he's setting the team up to win football matches. And one of the things that makes me think that mostly is that when he wants to get goals, he switches it from what he's playing to a 4-4-2.
Yeah,
and so if he thinks that that's the best way of scoring goals,
start
the game like that and try and get ahead. So if I was on the board, I'd be saying to him, you're not winning football matches, and there are reasons I believe that these things are happening, and I'd explain those things, and I'd give him a certain amount of time, and I'd tell him that he needs to deliver. And I think I would probably, in the meantime, be having a look at what my options were elsewhere around in terms of bringing somebody else in. So I would still stick at this very moment in time, but he has to start winning football matches soon, because we cannot afford to go down again in any way, shape or form.
I do feel sorry for Frank Rothwell and Rose. I do, because they wanted to make this a really good appointment, but sadly, it hasn't worked out. It hasn't. I know they say Rome's not built in a day. We're all in a progression of, where we was a couple of months ago, but it's a results business, and we sit third bottom of the National League, and every game we've played this season, we've not been comfortable in any game whatsoever. When he played the first game against Bromley, I shrugged off and I thought, you know what, it's his first game, leave it. And then we played Wrexham first half, thought, absolutely brilliant that. We didn't deserve to lose, we should have won the game. But since then, we've been absolutely woeful. Woeful.
Well, to answer Andy G's question, after that display, 4-1 at half-time, and then not to, I think it's beyond repair now with the fans, I think, in some respects, with David Unsworth and how he's come across, and to walk down the tunnel, I think it's set in stone. I think that he's going to have to. I would let him go, mate. I'd say 6 more games. If nothing comes, he's got to go. So I am on twisting.
So you're twisting?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard, isn't it?
It's results in it.
Of course, it is hard, and it's very, very easy for fans and for us all to just say, stick, twist, whatever. There are other things to consider if you're running the football club. right? And that's and you know, no one's going to be
player morale
it's
for
not-
one.
it's
Imagine
not-
just getting rid of a manager, then getting rid of a manager. It's
Yeah,
everything.
it's more
everything,
complicated
isn't it?
than all that. It's much easier for us to just to say it when there's no actual implications to what we say, think, or do.
They
But
want instantaneous
things are going to have to change. Things are going to have to change quickly.
Yeah.
Because the argument is that another manager could probably get more out of this group of players than he's getting. That's what the fans are saying. The fans are saying that if a different coach comes in and sets the team up differently, he starts to get wins. It's up to David. It's up to David Unsworth to start winning football matches. It's up to whatever tweaks he needs to make. He needs to make them, and he needs to start on Sunday.
The only thing is about this Sunday's game that he knows we've recently just played them, so he knows how they play. So, you know, we have got to play two up front. That is 100%. If he doesn't on Sunday, that team sheet comes out at 2 o'clock. Everyone's just going to go, here we go.
Do you think the fans will react if we get pummeled again on Sunday? Do you think the fans will react?
I'm telling you now, Dave, I don't like to say it, but if we go 1-0 down early on, it's game done. So it sounds horrible. I know we equalised quite quick on Boxing Day. We go 1-0 down on Sunday, we're done. Done. I don't see any fight back in. I don't. I really don't. I mean,
look, this is what we need. The fans, we need the players, the playing staff, the coaching staff to shake themselves down after that result. And he needs to put a team together, a formation together, and instill into, you know, a long hard look in the mirror, and some realism. And, you know, like, you know, if people saying about he's losing the dressing room, whatever, but other people at the club need to find out what that story is, what the score is there. Make sure that the players are happy. Make sure that, you know, it's up to the club. It's not up to us. It's up to the club. It's up to the manager to fix it, and they need to, because we're really struggling.
We are
really struggling.
You know, we've got Notts County, then we got Dorking, haven't we? You know, and you know, Dorking. I know we're all laughing at start season, but you know, these games are turning massive now. They're turning massive. We could find out. I know we got games in hand. It doesn't always mean you get wins, does it? But you know, the longer you
points over games any day. Points over games any day. We
had games in the last season,
we
didn't
come
we?
into the trap. Didn't we go? Oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Then we got.
Relegated. You know, we got some games thrown in there now where you just think, yeah. So I think if on Sunday, I think it is. I know they're doing really well, but we have to win.
You know what we need though, Bim Man? What we've not had this season, right? We beat Dorking in that first game, right? Full house. Everyone was expecting to beat Dorking. We made hard work of it. Went 3-0 up, but we made hard work of it, and they actually played really well. We also beat Aldershot with a late goal. We beat Eastleigh, and we beat Torquay, and that's it. In it, we won 4 games. In Yeovil, yeah, that's it. We won 5 games, right? We haven't had one big win. We got murdered by Chesterfield. We got murdered by Wrexham. Not in the league game, but in the cup game. We've not had a big win. Yeah, but what I mean is there's not that many big teams in this division. Like, you know, we've got Chesterfield, Notts County, and Wrexham are the 3 biggest teams in this division, apart from us.
Walking murders.
No, I'm not talking about all the times we got murdered. I'm talking about we've not had one. We need a big win. We need a big result. You need to go out with the kind of performance and a victory where all of a sudden, because that being Torquay and Aldershot and Eastleigh, it's like, okay, well, we should be picking up points against the likes of these teams on, you know, and the fact that we've only beat like 5 teams that are all, you know, down and, you know, in the bottom half of the table, we've got to be beating a Boreham Wood or a Solihull, or, because it sounds grim, but these are much better teams than we are. We've got to be beating a Chesterfield or a Wrexham or Notts County. We need
a siege mentality at home.
A win on Sunday would be a statement. It really, really would. But I mean, going off the performance on Boxing Day, there's not a cat in hell's chance that we're going to pick up any points in that game. So,
no, it'd be very difficult. But we're in this league, and you know, we've got to go and compete. We have to. I bet you're sick of keep hearing it. You go 2 up front and you go through it and actually play all right. Then fans will come away and go, "Do you know what? We was unlucky today, like we did against Wrexham, if that makes sense." You know, you come away and thought we got beat, but we put in a shift. Everyone were grafting. we just don't see it, do we?
I wouldn't mind so much if like the formations that were being played and it was like close and there was something in it, But like on Sunday, Monday, it was just we were miles off it. We were miles.
When we equalised, I got a bit of like, here we go, we're having it now. We've got reaction, but you know what? It just didn't happen.
I think Norman is at fault for at least 2 of them on Boxing Day.
I think you can go back over all those goals with man and pick holes in the defense. Well, they did pick holes in the defense. The defending was terrible, and it wasn't just Norman's fault. All right, he parried the ball out on that second goal, but there's no one within 15 yards of him. It's a team effort. You defend as a team, you lose as a team, you win as a team, and they've all got to take responsibility for it at the end of the day.
Well, that's it. But David Unsworth isn't. He's running straight down tunnel.
Well, I mean,
go over to your players. Say, listen, lads, go over on the pitch. Get speaking to them,
and drag them over. Drag them over to the fans. It's things like this that fans appreciate, And even if he gets dog abuse, fans feel better for having the opportunity to give him some abuse. He'll have to take it on the chin.
But Brad made a good point. I think it was about 8 years ago, we played MK Dons when we got beat 7-1. And me and Brad, we stood there and he turned, Lee Johnson come over and said, clapped. Everyone were giving him dogs abuse, but Lee Johnson said, you go over there and you clap them. Get over there now and do it. And Lee Johnson came over with them as well. They're all throwing pelters at him, but you know what? I kind of respect it because he came over and acknowledged it. It weren't good enough. Clap them fans for coming.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Bin Man.
No, you're right, guys. On to next.
See you on Sunday, no doubt.
You will do. Take it easy.
See you later, pal. So in summary, then, it's my birthday on New Year's Eve. So if any fans want to say happy birthday, please do so.
You'll be in a fan bar early, will you?
No, on New Year's Day, God no. I'm try Jan.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Try Jan.
I think. Look, I mean, the takeaways from tonight's meeting, guys, are that there feels to be a divide between the fans and the manager, and that they would like to see more from him in terms of acknowledging their presence, really, and all that, and the formation doesn't seem to be working. And fans, nobody has phoned up tonight to say that they believe in the manager. Now, it's not everybody. This phoning certainly doesn't represent every single fan, and there will be people who feel differently. But it's becoming more and more difficult to keep the faith.
Yeah,
to coin a phrase. But we all sincerely hope that on Sunday, on New Year's Day, that this team can show us what they're about, that the manager can show us what he's about, and take some points from Notts County and start building and go into 2023 not as depressed as Dave looks right now. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for calling.
Sayonara. I am okay. I'm not depressed. I'm just really tired.
Yeah, poor Dave. Said no one. See ya.
Bye.
The Latics Football Phone-In is hosted and produced weekly by Matt Dean and Dave Bradley for Q Pod Productions. Please follow and interact with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at oafc Podcast, and subscribe to youtube.com/The Boundary Park Alert System. The Latics Football Phone-In is released as a podcast every Friday morning at 7 a.m. and follows the Boundary Park Alert System podcast every Monday morning also at 7 a.m. A huge thank you goes to those people who already subscribe and support the podcast. We appreciate you all, and if you'd like to help us out, please visit oafcpodcast.co.uk and click support or find the link in the podcast show notes. It's only $2.99 per month, and we'll draw a subscriber at random every month to win an Oldham Athletic shirt of your choice. A special mention must go to Lee's Field Development for providing the prizes on the Wheel of Wonder. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, please get in touch. The title music for the show is by Manchester DJ and producer Starion, and for more information visit bandcamp.com/Red Laser Records. Thanks for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time.